we just had an outpouring of support in the community. And I drove around in my Honda Element throughout to Cleveland, to Lafayette, to all over the Chattanooga region, and picked up bicycles and met incredible people and had great conversations at a time where COVID is at the peak. And, I'm wrestling with, should I go out or should I not? And just in faith, just went and did it. Mm-hmm. And here we had, then we collected about 40 bicycles in the backyard. And that really gave us the confidence to know that, hey, this is a good idea and people are supporting it, so let's move forward with it. Let's see where we can take this.
Welcome to the Startup Heroes Podcast, a place to learn about business from local Chattanooga superheroes sharing their entrepreneurial journey, their superpowers, kryptonite, sidekicks, and villains. You'll learn about the principles and actions it took these founders to build their dreams, and hopefully be inspired to do the same. Thank you for listening.
Hello and welcome to the next episode of Startup Heroes. I'm Chris Wood.
I'm Dylan Wizenat.
And today we have
Blake Pierce.
And thanks for joining us, Blake. This is exciting.
Yes, glad to be here. First, I'd like to say congratulations to you, Chris, for being, and your crew at Be Caffeinated for becoming Startup of the Year.
Thanks.
So congratulations on that.
Dream come true.
Chattanooga Startup Week. So
thank you.
Glad to be here with such an amazing group.
Well, we feel the same. Blake is with White Oak Bicycle Co-op. They are doing some amazing stuff. They got their 501c3 status this year, right? In January?
Yes, it came through right at the tail end of last year. So it's that when it comes in the mail, and it looks like a rejection letter, but and so you nervously open it because you waited 4 months for it, and it was like right timing to kind of wrap up the year. But we really started strong.
It's like a college acceptance letter.
Yeah. It's one of those things. Did I make sure that I fill out every box correctly? Yeah. Otherwise, rejection.
Okay. Well, you got it. And y'all's goal. Give us a 30-second elevator pitch of what White Oak Bicycle Co-op is.
So it's pretty simple. We take your used bicycles, we refurbish them, and then we turn around and we try to find them a good home. So we partner with organizations locally, like the Salvation Army's homeless program, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and other organizations that are serving our community, and we supply them with bicycles in order for them to use for transportation or for physical activity or just for fun.
So you sell them to people?
No, we don't. And we just the bikes that are donated to us, we refurbish them, and then we pay for the parts, and we take care of all that. And when they go out to the park to be given away to children, and they go into the organization, they look just as new as when they've come off the shelf. So awesome. For as long as we can, we'll be giving away bicycles.
That's great. So why bicycles? What started this? Why are you giving away bikes?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I say a lot to our crew is that it's not really about the bicycles. It's the community and the individuals that we're serving. And I learned that lesson from a dear friend of mine, Ryan Keller, years ago. I first met Ryan. He was a freshman in UTC. And he comes in my office, and I was an academic advisor. We were there to discuss his courses for the next term. And he says, hey, I need to switch my major. I was going to be a dentist, and now I just want to go out and I want to help people. And I know I want to do it in some way with outdoor recreation. Mm-hmm. And something was different about what he was saying. There was really meaning and purpose behind it, and I was just drawn to it. And he eventually,
genuine,
just genuine, and it was rare to see that, in 18-year-olds. Students, they change their major often the first year. We're still trying to figure things out, and to have that conviction so early on, and the story goes on is that he traveled across the U.S. and learned everything that he needed to learn to start a after-school program here in Chattanooga at Dalewood Middle School with a partner, Clark Brewer, and they started Bridge Chattanooga. And he was, I got to see him all along the way and kind of grow into that. So at the time, I was kind of mentoring him through things in life, and little did I know that I was just learning the entire time as well.
Yeah.
And those lessons that I learned then are now being applied to our organizations.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So his story lives on, and I think that's powerful, and that's something that really proud that we can make happen.
Yeah, that's great. So did you guys already know things about bicycles, or did you just, hey, that guy is riding a bike,
So the bicycles came along, the idea came along with our neighbors who just came together there in Red Bank. COVID presented an opportunity for many of us to work from home, and that had allowed us to do different things now. And we decided that, hey, let's use our time to find a way where we can serve our community. And we did that by just trying to go out and find some bicycles, and we did just by word of mouth. And, one, we have bikes in your closet, or one that, that you need to get rid of. Yeah. And they're sitting, and we collected a few, and we found homes for them. And then the idea kind of just grew from that. It was like, wow, that worked. And so can we do it again? And we did. And then it really took off, and our mission was sealed towards the end of 2020 when WRCB did a story on us, Grace McKenna, and she highlighted our work. And right after that, we just had an outpouring of support in the community. And I drove around in my Honda Element throughout to Cleveland, to Lafayette, to all over the Chattanooga region, and picked up bicycles and met incredible people and had great conversations at a time where COVID is at the peak. And, I'm wrestling with, should I go out or should I not? And just in faith, just went and did it. And here we had, then we collected about 40 bicycles in the backyard. And that really gave us the confidence to know that, hey, this is a good idea and people are supporting it, so let's move forward with it. Let's see where we can take this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we set our goal, just pulled it just out of the air. Let's try to give away a bike a week in 2021. And here we are.
So 52 bikes
Yeah,
in
52
the year.
bikes a year. And today in October, as we close out October, we are over 104 bikes.
Oh my gosh!
So we've doubled the number. Yeah,
yeah.
And so that wouldn't be possible without the Chattanooga community coming together and supporting us with their donations of bicycles. That's a key to it, and we are always being good stewards of those and making sure that we're reaching out to our community partners and making sure that those are going to a good home.
That's awesome.
And so it's been an incredible ride this year to kind of see the growth.
Yeah. So what were some of your biggest hardships kind of starting out, working out the kinks? It is a business, even though it's a nonprofit and you don't, take money for the bike. So what are some things that you had to go through that you weren't expecting?
It's a 3-letter word. IRS.
So what does that stand for?
Yeah. And, that was the big, to become a nonprofit, you have to fill out this really long form and it's really detailed and pay, for it. And it's a daunting task. It can be a daunting task. Sure. And I think it's a barrier to a lot because the IRS is feared. And that was that first thing I had to get over to say, you know what, let's roll the dice. Let's figure this out. Let's put this together and let's just see if we can get it submitted and be approved. And you send it in the mail. You get that letter at the end of December. You're sweating. You're thinking, oh, I'm going to have to go through it again. Open it up, and there it is. And it's like, oh, okay.
Now it's real.
And I encourage those who are out there and they have these ideas and on the organization or nonprofit side that it's not as frightening as it's made out to be. there's work involved, and luckily the internet has, Google searches can provide you a lot of good information to
probably even YouTube videos on
yeah,
how to
YouTube,
fill out
yeah.
a 501c3.
So I would encourage those with those ideas to move forward with it.
Yep.
Because you can do it, and you could still, run, the organization out of your backyard for right now, as we are kindly doing the basements around Red Bank, and until we eventually have our location.
Yeah.
But those things has not stopped us from continuing to grow as organizations while we figure things out.
That's awesome. Beautiful. So there's obviously a lot of work, like you said. There's a lot of stuff to do. Got to fix a lot of stuff. What is your superpower and White Oak Bicycle Co-op superpower in general?
It's the people. We follow a little non-traditional bicycle cooperative model. Mm-hmm. A lot of times with bicycle co-ops in town, it's their community bicycle shop where you would come in and perhaps you would pay a little bit amount of money for a bicycle, or you may get it for free, but you had to, work on it there, or you would have to attend so many classes or other things in order to achieve that bicycle, get the bicycle. And what we found the gap was, and that model has been applied here, and it works. But for our purposes, we saw the gap in just getting the bicycles on the street, and really recognizing that that there was a need to just get them out. And our superpower has been the staff who's come on board to make all that happen. And that goes from Andrew Jones and Christian Gonzalez, who are the other co-founders of this organization, to the rest of our staff who just, commit their time. We're all volunteers. We all work our 9-to-5s, and we just believe in serving our community, and we're choosing to do it through bicycles. And we really, have, I think, grown because of the people that we have.
That's great. What's your superpower?
I think my superpower is the belief that good things can still happen in this world. Our organization was born because of COVID. Mm-hmm. And we all have this belief that things can be better, and we're trying to do that in our own little way. And I think having that belief and then the will to follow through with it. I think we have ideas. I have a million. I'm an idea guy. I have plenty of them. If you need an idea, give me a call. I can get you one. But you have to have the follow through to make these things happen.
I was listening to Gary Vaynerchuk yesterday, and the line was, ideas are crap. They're nothing without execution. Yeah. So you're 100% spot on. Yeah.
Eric Thomas' secret to success, in the midst of it, he tells this story, and I don't know if the story is true or not, but it's about Beyonce, and she was she was recording an album, and she just went in there, and she just went in, and then 3 days later, she came out. Wow. Because she was so in tune with what she was doing. And when I first heard that, I was like, okay, like really? Like, what does that mean? Now I know what it means. Because in order to have the idea and have the will to push forward, sometimes you have to go in. You just have to create the time and the space to create and do it.
Fully immerse yourself.
Yeah. And then when you come out on the other side, you're like, wow, what was this? And I know you all probably see it as well. Yeah. I mean, if you look backwards a month, you're like, where was Be Caffeinated a month ago? Or, 6 months ago? Yeah. And that's sort of where we are when we look back as well. Like, and I think it's been an amazing experience seeing all that grow and being a part of that.
Yeah. I mean, you guys came out of nowhere, and now I feel like I guess in my circle at least, you're definitely a household name already. So I guess, speaking of names, why White Oak Bicycle? Like, where did that come from? Yeah,
if you go onto our website,
which is
whiteoakbicycle.org, currently our home screen, if you look at it, like, why is this their home screen? It's a road. If you open up on your computer, you'll see a sign on that side that actually points you to White Oak Park there in Red Bank. I encourage you, if you haven't been over there in a while, to come over to the city of Red Bank and check out the new White Oak Connector Trail. But what the picture is really of, based upon my historical understanding of the area, is that is where the name White Oak came from. White Oak was an area where, the polluted downtown Chattanooga, there was you wanted to seek refuge. You want to go to a park to find a green space like we're all doing, that we enjoy doing now. And the cemetery was over there, and that provided that space. And there's a creek that comes, or a spring that comes out of the side of the hill there, and it washes away the roots of the trees. And it's beautiful. And so you have these big oak trees with their roots washed away and exposed, and people would just come and just sit and hang out, and it was like that was White Oak.
That's awesome.
And we have came out of nowhere, and we've grown, and that it's been phenomenal. We want to go regional, we want to go national, and we want to eventually get shipping containers and send them abroad. But we cannot forget our community next door.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Well, and the picture that you painted of people coming to those exposed roots and hanging out and being together and just being that
community.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And I think in the community has good and the community has bad.
Yep.
And,
well, it's people.
And it's people. and there's other things that within the community that, we are now learning more about, which is that ties into the Ed Johnson Memorial at the bridge that just opened here at the Walnut Street Bridge. On there, you'll see a name, Alfred Blunt. I think twice he's mentioned in the memorial. Well, he's buried over in the White Oak area. And Ed Johnson and Alfred Blunt have very similar stories. And I think there's opportunities to address that and honor that and tie those things together so that we learn some of those lessons.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's part of community as well. Is that we have to have that.
Not being an echo chamber and having people that think differently than you, look differently than you, because the world is not one color or one idea. It's this beautiful mishmash of so many different things, and they're typically more beautiful together. So that's really cool.
And I think we can do that, and that's what it goes back to. I have hope, and I have a belief that we can do that we can pull together and address these things. Those of us who can pull together and address some of these major issues that are going on. A group of volunteers in Red Bank are trying to do that in a very small way using bicycles. Find your friend group. Find your coworkers. Find out what your bicycle is. And do it.
Yep.
And you'll be amazed what happens.
Yeah. And believing in the hope and the beauty of stuff is a lot more fun than being constantly negative.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're inundated with negative. We can't even turn on anything without negative.
The news thrives on negative.
Yeah. But when we give away a bicycle and we see a child just take it and, take off and just have a smile on their face, I mean, it makes you want to do more of that work than looking at some of the other things that are going on.
Before we switch over to Kryptonite, I want to know, kind of on that note, what is so far been your favorite bike giving event or interaction? You told me a story, I think a couple weeks ago. You showed me the picture of the really happy people. Is there something that really sticks in your mind and kind of pushes you forward when you're really tired of paperwork or?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many answers to that question. I mean, just so many people that have made an impact on this organization, and opportunities that has happened in interactions that are just tremendous. But I really think that our events at White Oak Park are like, they stand out the most to me, because I mean, that was our pie in the sky idea at a time where, White Oak Park wasn't being used very often. We wanted to say, hey, do you think that we can also give away bikes, but do you think we can also give away bikes plus bring people to the park and bring those together at the park? And with our partnership with the Trust for Public Land, we did that.
Yeah. And
so each of the, events really stand out to me because they're growing. And we're more people. We had a child from over an hour away at the last event drove in to get a bicycle.
Wow, that's awesome.
Drove to White Oak Park in Red Bank to get a bicycle. And those kind of things stand out.
Yeah.
We go out and we share. We'll go out and we say, hey, this is what we do, and come to this event, never knowing if someone's going to show up or not. We genuinely want folks to show up, but then they do. And it's like, wow. Gives us total validation of what we're doing in a way that, yes, let's continue to move forward.
So Blake, now we're going to go to section 3 of kryptonite. So what is your kryptonite? And to be more specific, what drains you?
I guess, being on the computer drains me. We're such a technology-driven society right now. But I really think that, things did change over COVID, but maybe we're spending more time on computers than we were before. And I just, the more and more I'm on there, which goes back to the news and all the other things, it becomes like this negative place sometimes. And so using kind of time that I have to focus on that. While it is important, it's one of those things that I have to kind of balance in a way, because I want to be just working on the bicycles and giving them the kids, and also going into the classroom and teaching students about how this works, about how they can have their idea just like Ryan did in the classroom, and we can walk through how to make that happen. And so both of those are real important to me. And so having to take the time for the technology, it's like, no, I just want to go out, but it is important, and it's something that I'm avidly working on.
For sure. Where do you think White Oak could improve the most?
Hiring someone to be on the computer.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, we are looking for yes. All things IT. We have that, and I think that could be an improvement. As I mentioned before, we are about as grassroots as you can get, being in our basements and backyards and making this happen. So I think one of the ways that we can improve would be to bring on more volunteers, but until we kind of have the space, the next level of space that we need, that proves to be a little bit difficult. So I really think that we can expand it, just like I know there's plenty of folks here in Chattanooga, the outdoor capital of the world, that know how to work on bicycles and want to support initiatives that we're doing. And we are trying to, find that space so we can bring everyone together who wants to tackle this. And I think that's one area of improvement that we are constantly working to resolve.
If you could go back in time to when you guys first started White Oak and you knew what you do right now, would you do anything differently?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Awesome. So you're pretty happy.
Yeah. I just think that it was grown as a group. The cooperative is the people. And I think we've just grown in the right way, and we've grown together and strengthened our relationships, even as neighbors and everything. We are a closer group because of that. And I don't know if I want to go back and change that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So if White Oak has an arch nemesis, what is their superpower, and what gives them the advantage over you?
Our nemesis is lack of funding currently. You know, we're pretty unique in what we're trying to offer here, and we positioned ourselves to, you know, fill a certain gap. And so, as far as at the moment having competition, we don't have anyone to chase down to be number one podcast in Chattanooga, but we are, you know, I think really trying to address, okay, we're an organic small bicycle group, and we obviously need to eventually grow into funding and being more positioned for that. And so I think that's one of the things where we want to be working towards.
So where do you see White Oak going next? Like, what's the plan?
International. Yeah. I really cannot wait to send Christian Gonzalez with a big container of bicycles down to Cuba. It's going to be fantastic, because I believe this model that we've created, as I was saying before, where though you take whatever your medium is and use it. We're using bicycles, and so we're able to kind of scale that out, and hopefully we'll scale it out to where we can send it beyond Chattanooga. We can send it throughout the state of Tennessee. We can send it throughout the Southeast, and we can get those shipping containers filled.
That's excellent. And if one of our audience members want to find more about White Oak, where could they do so?
Pay us a visit at whiteoakbicycle.org. We always try to keep that updated with the various things we have going on. Check out our events page. You can always find us out and about in the community. So we would love to stop by, get a sticker, say hello, figure out how to volunteer.
You don't know this yet, but you also have an Instagram now.
Oh, I have. Okay. Do we have someone to run it? Because that's our kryptonite.
Yeah. It'll be you for now. But
okay.
Nate started making it. So
awesome.
In a couple of days,
yeah,
we'll hand the reins over and teach you how to use it. But
awesome.
Yeah. So I think
I'll definitely.
Do y'all remember what the @ was for it? I think if you just type in White Oak Bikes, yeah.
At White Oak Bikes on Instagram.
Yeah. At the time of release, it should be there. So.
That's awesome. No, I have to go find someone to run it.
We just got tired of doing stuff with you and not have anyone to tag.
Yeah, we do. To address that, we're taking a more of an old traditional approach where we're going through old media channels that have kind of gone by the wayside. So making phone calls and showing up and meeting and shaking hands when appropriate. But, going back to those roots and trying to grow within, and I think that's made us a stronger community, whether that's the individual, all the way out to the individuals who are giving us bicycles. And somehow without all these things that we're told that we have to have, we've been able to do something. Now, granted, I'm not going to say that if we ever want to go international, we're going to have this. But just so far, it's worked, and really, I think, strengthened our organization and the community around it by taking those personal approaches to our communications, to our marketing, and to our outreach.
And Blake, is there anything that we haven't gone over that you want people to know?
You can always donate your bicycles to us that are not being used. We can definitely use them. And
what are your drop-off points?
Be caffeinated, both locations, and we have various shops around town who partnered with us to be drop-off points. Also, the Red Bank Fire Department and Recycling Center. If you can go on our website and you can find out those drop-off points, and we also take parts and tires and tools and anything that you're needing to get rid of that you think could be useful in refurbishing bicycles. And
you take money?
We can definitely use money, especially for those who want to come on and volunteer with us. We definitely, because once we have that space, that is where we want to bring in more of the community who want to come in and work on bikes and make an impact with us.
Fantastic.
What is your slogan? Or is that the bigger thing that's the slogan?
Personally?
Sure. I want both, actually. I didn't know there was a personal one.
Yeah,
That's even better.
Well, there's probably many, but there's a painting up in the garage where we fix the bicycles, and it says, actually painted up there on the wood. It says, "Fail to prepare, prepare to fail." I think you all kind of touched on that a little bit beforehand, where it's, on the outside, everything looks cool and collected, but there is work that is being done.
It's like a duck swimming.
Yeah, in order to do that. So, I mean, I think, to get to the point of calmness is that that you are prepared to do what you're setting out to do.
Yeah.
And so I think that kind of resonates for me. I actually saw it before I biked over here today, so that's probably why it just popped up in my head. And there's just other things, but that's one that stands out.
And what's the child one? The slogan?
Child.
Every child.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Every child deserves a bicycle is going to be our first of 3 initiatives. We're gonna try to do it region wide, and where we're trying to partner with local governments and nonprofits and the university and organizations around town in order to increase that children's access to bicycles here in the Chattanooga region. And ultimately what we're trying to address is some of the health disparities that are experienced in the communities, which are high rates of childhood obesity, low rates of physical activity, low access to tools needed to be physically active. Those are some of the big objectives and goals that we're trying to address through giving away bicycles.
That's awesome. All right, it's time for the finishing section of the podcast, known as Rapid Fire. We should eventually get a really cool sound to go there. It's like
lasers,
yeah. But we don't have that yet because we're not that cool. But rapid fire time. I'll
give you a bicycle bell. Ding.
Yeah.
I'll do that if you get it right. No, there's no right answer. We're going to stick to about 30-ish seconds for each of these. If you need to go longer, feel free. Yeah. There's no consequence. I'm not going to hit you with a bike or something. But so first question. What is your favorite book? First business book and then not business book.
Well,
business.
I guess it's always the one that I'm currently reading, I guess, for the business one. And it has this unfortunate timing with the Netflix thing that's going on currently. But the book I was in the middle of reading or beginning to read during this time was That'll Never Work by one of the Netflix founders. So that's sort of the idea of you having all these ideas, but in pitching them, and maybe they'll work or maybe they're not, but really getting into the one that really fits you.
Because everyone said Netflix wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Blockbuster had the chance to buy them for like $1 million, and they said no. And now Blockbuster doesn't make sense.
You just ruined the book. I wasn't finished yet.
Spoiler. Okay, and then non-business.
I guess one of the ones that I just finished recently was the Contempt of Court, which is the Ed Johnson story. And I would encourage anybody who is in the Chattanooga area and beyond to read this story, to get the book and read beyond what's even at the memorial. It will blow your mind. And it will especially blow your mind to realize that it happened from where we were sitting, less than, about a half a mile. And it changed so many things in society. I mean, this book needs to be read by everybody. Every school child in Chattanooga eventually needs to go and read this and experience it, because it is very impactful.
That's awesome.
And I think there is a lot to be learned from that story, and it needs to be shared.
Cool. You heard it here. Who was your biggest influence growing up, and why?
Wow, so many people.
Biggest.
I would say my granddad.
Yep.
He fought in Korea. He was in the airborne. I mean, he was a tough guy, and he never stopped learning. When I was in college, just so happened my grandfather enrolled in the same college, so we were like, classmates. Because he just never wanted to stop learning, and he was an inspiration to me. He's the one who kind of introduced me to riding bikes for exercise. And, he was just a tough old guy. And whenever he had a challenge, he pushed on through. And he was really influential on my life and the things and who I am today.
It reminds me of an extremely Goofy movie where Goofy goes to college with Max. Have you seen that?
No.
Have you seen the Goofy movie?
No.
Okay. You need to watch both of them.
Pretty much every movie is going to be a no.
Well, you should watch those.
Okay.
It's Disney cartoon movie, but
all right.
Yeah, you should watch this. Your kids will like it. Well, I guess the baby probably wouldn't know what was going on, but
yeah.
Your
So
daughter will.
yeah. I have a 13-year-old daughter named Ella, and I have a 10-month, soon to be 11-month-old daughter named Ryan, who is named after Ryan Keller, who I spoke of earlier.
Oh yeah, at least one of them would enjoy the Goofy.
Yeah. I'm sure
Ryan
they
will
would.
one
No,
day.
they would both enjoy it. They would both enjoy it.
Yeah. What's your favorite restaurant in Chattanooga?
I got to go with Dubs.
Dubs. Okay.
Yeah, Dubs in Red Bank.
Yeah.
Go see Jordan.
What do you get?
Whatever his special is, don't even argue with him. Just go ahead and get it.
Understood.
Otherwise, get the kosher burger, always the fries. It's one of those life guilty pleasures is Dubs. Or you go on Wednesday, and I think they have $1 ice cream, which is a fantastic deal.
Yum. What's your go-to coffee drink?
Just black.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you have good coffee, you can taste the difference.
Yeah.
And so, like the ones you all roast. And so when you have black coffee, like that's good. You don't need to add anything to it.
True
So
that.
I would go with that.
I love it. Who's your favorite superhero?
I mean, obviously Superman now, right? I have to go with the S, right? Perhaps it is Superman. Up and away. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we have to be sometimes. It's like, let's go. And I think many of us sitting in this room right now, that's the track we're on.
Trying. For sure. What's your favorite song?
Anything by Willie Nelson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything. Pretty
That's
much,
great.
probably songs that many folks don't know about. So.
Well, I grew up, my dad loves Willie Nelson. We lived in Texas for a while, so he was big into Willie Nelson, Jimmy Buffett, James Taylor, Morrison, all that. So
yeah, he has a very unique story, and I think he's an example of someone who can bring people together.
Yeah.
Because you can't really find many people who disagree with whether or not you like or not Willie Nelson. We all all love Willie Nelson.
Everybody loves
Yeah. and so that's sort of, we have our Willie Nelson approach to our organization where we want to bring everyone together and in a way to impact our community.
It's probably without as many extracurricular activities.
Oh, no, none of those.
What's your favorite band? So the same answer, or
Yeah, I would have to say, Willie Nelson and Family. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I think, it's about his being a poet and a storyteller, not the, radio hits. It's the other ones where he delves deep. After we learned that my friend Ryan died, I turned to Willie Nelson's Yesterday's Wine album and from the 60s, and there's a song on there that talks about like trying to figure out, like, I'm trying to understand, like, God, what is going on here? Like, help me understand all this. And the part of the song is saying there are just things that you're not going to understand.
Yep.
And so
that's life. Yep.
Yeah, that's life. And so, yeah, Willie Nelson, any of those. And
Who
family.
thought you could get that deep with Willie Nelson?
Yeah. It's because it's all the songs you haven't heard.
Yeah. Him and Billy Joel they're very good at painting pictures with songs. Like Piano Man is by far my favorite song ever. And it's because it's just, he's playing a movie in your head. It's not just, there was a guy sitting at a bar. It's like the politician and the waitress were sharing a drink they call loneliness, but it's better than drinking alone. And just the pictures he paints. And I think Willie does the same thing. It's just really cool. If you could meet anyone alive today, who would it be?
Can I say Willie Nelson again?
Absolutely.
Can anybody around here make that happen? Because, that
would be cool.
No, I think, going back to tell more of his story, he had very humble beginnings and was raised by his grandparents, and they were going to take the children, and his grandmother fought to save him and his sister, and they eventually grew up and played music in church and kind of grew up, and he never forgot home. And, I think that's, pretty impactful, and that has impacted me as I moved on from home and other things that we don't forget, who we are and where we came from.
That's beautiful. What's your favorite thing to make?
Refurbished bicycles to make them look real good. Yeah. So with that, that's where when we can, and we don't do a great job of taking before and after pictures, perhaps because we need some IT support. But that's one of the things when we'll get a rusty bicycle and we clean it up really well, and then we make it into something beautiful where a child would not even know that this didn't come straight from a store. And so that's a pretty cool process to kind of go through and see happen.
That's really cool. Harry Potter, Star Wars, or Lord of the Rings?
I've only seen one of three, so I'll have to go with that one. You want to guess which one?
Lord of the Rings?
No.
Star Wars?
Yes. Yeah, Star Wars. But I do love the story.
Which story episode?
Of Star Wars. The middle ones, which were the first ones.
Yeah, that's the right answer.
Yeah, and not the first three ones, okay?
Yeah.
Especially the first.
The first three that were filmed, but not the first three episodes.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah, and I think there's even things now throughout, watching them, Star Wars as a child and watching them as an adult, that you can see it in a different lens.
Oh, absolutely.
And everything.
You identify with different characters.
Yeah, and just some
and then
of
one
the
day
conflict.
we'll identify with Yoda.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Are you listening to any podcasts right now?
Y'all's.
Yeah.
Of course. We're going to make it, right, number one in Chattanooga.
Absolutely.
And so I think you all are on the way to do that.
Thank you. Any other ones?
No. Cool. I haven't, the podcast would be for like traveling long distances now, and I rarely get in the car for that time. And so I think that's kind of toned that down for a while, outside of, how stuff works or something that like that out every now and then. So, but now, I think there's a lot to be learned from them. Yep. And I'm thinking more and more of, okay, this is another avenue of thought, especially as I grow and as our organization grows. It's probably pretty smart to be listening to others who are doing those things ahead of you. Mm-hmm. And so I think the podcast format provides that, and it's something that I think I will be incorporating on a more regular basis.
I'm about to lose my big podcast time because I listen to it on the way to work, and because I live 20 minutes away. Mm-hmm. We're about to move to Red Bank, so it'll be like a 5-minute commute. So I'm like, when am I gonna listen to my podcast? So I'm gonna have to start setting time aside for it. Mm-hmm. How do you unwind when you're not at work?
I think any time where I can get out for a run in the woods is, we have so many amazing trails around this area, and just really being able to get out in nature. I gained my love of hiking from my grandfather, and we would go out to the Appalachian Trail together, and I really wasn't excited about it at the time. But again, I didn't know it. I wasn't aware of it, but now I understand it. And so being able to kind of get out in the woods, and whether it's in downtown in Stringer's Ridge or going out to the Cumberland Trail, just anywhere where just running in the woods is just, it's just beautiful.
What's your favorite trail in town to bike on?
The White Oak connector that is about to be complete in right outside of White Oak Park in Red Bank. That's I mean, it's so amazing to see that unfold and know that is the first part to eventually swing this whole connection out to hopefully Greenway Farm. And that's it. And so many times you hear, okay, they're going to put sidewalks over here, or a trail over here, or this, that, and the other. And is it happen? I don't know. But this has.
Yeah.
And I see it as, wow, that's progression. So that right there is my favorite trail to ride, and I will happily continue to ride whatever trail connects to that to really promote that and showcase what, bringing folks to the park and bringing people out to ride their bikes in this area. Just come on, let's do it. Let's make it accessible for all. Let's bring it into all the communities so that they have the opportunities.
That's awesome. Do you have a bike trail bucket list kind of nationally or internationally that you'd love to ride on one day?
I would love to do the complete Natchez Trace. I've done sections of it several years ago. My wife and I, we drove over to Florence, Alabama, and biked down to Tupelo to see Willie Nelson. 75 miles down, and we got a hotel and unpacked and went to the show the next morning. We got up, got on our bikes, and biked back. But I think the Natchez Trace is such a unique place, and it's a place where if you are into road cycling, you can go and just for hundreds of miles just be in this national park, picturesque, scenery, and that's a really good one.
Is part of that in Mississippi?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So it starts right outside of Franklin, Tennessee, at the Loveless Cafe. So an ending point, and where you can get your biscuits right afterwards. But you can park there, and it'll take you all the way down to Natchez, Mississippi.
Okay. I was going to say, one of my really good friends has family there, and I was like, oh, the Natchez Trace. And in Mississippi, they call it Natchez. And I was like,
okay.
Is Natchez. It not Natchez? Like, no, it rhymes with matches.
Okay.
I was like, okay.
All right.
But yeah, so her aunt has like a bakery down there and stuff. But there's like that. Have you seen the teepee in Natchez? It's crazy.
No, I haven't.
I think it's a convenience store that's just a giant like Native American teepee just in the middle of
awesome BFE, sort of like the pyramid in Memphis.
Yeah
where it's like, okay,
and there's not very much in Natchez, so the fact that they have a giant teepee is really interesting.
That's I hopefully one day I'll be able to bike all the way down there and see that. But even for driving, you can go over there and take a beautiful drive and outing if you want an alternative to going over to the Smokies or something like that. It's a great spot.
That's awesome. All right. Well, that ends our session of Rapid Fire and also the podcast. Blake, thank you so much for joining us. This was awesome. I don't think we could have had a better first nonprofit group to interview and be on here for it. So
we appreciate you guys, taking the time to learn more about our organization and supporting it.
Absolutely.
So, very impactful.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us again this week. Again, if you want to find more about White Oak Bicycle Co-op, you can go onto their website at
whiteoakbicycle.org.
And they will also have an Instagram very soon. Hopefully we'll figure out how to use it and teach them how to use it. And we'll have a lot of fun events moving forward where they hand out bikes to people that need them. Thanks again for listening to Startup Heroes. This was Chris Wood,
Dylan Wisenat,
and
Blake Pierce.
Have a great rest of your day.
This podcast brought to you by HiveThink Media. If you like this podcast and you want to stay in the know of what's going on with us, follow us at HiveThink Media on Instagram or check us out at hivethinkmedia.com. Thank you for listening.